Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to dig into a huge, kind of hidden vulnerability that actually affects millions of websites out there. And yeah, maybe even yours. We're going to figure out how to shield your online business for those times when one of the internet's biggest players, well, has a really bad day. Let's get into it.
Just imagine that feeling of panic, right? You get a message, hey, your site's not loading. So you rush to check your server and everything looks perfect. All the lights are green, the engine's humming, but you are completely, totally offline. It's one of those frustrating mysteries that can send any business owner into a total tailspin. So, what on earth is going on?
Well, here's the thing. The culprit probably isn't you, and it's not your hosting provider either. It's a third-party service, and in this case, we're talking about Cloudflare. This is like the textbook definition of a single point of failure. When it has a little hiccup, a massive chunk of the internet feels that pain, and you're just caught in the crossfire.
So this leads us right into what I like to call the dependency trap. So many of us, I mean millions of us, rely on this one service, a lot of times without even fully understanding the risks involved. Let's break down exactly why this dependency is so incredibly common and why it's so dangerous.
So why is everyone so dependent? Well, it really boils down to the incredible value they offer. Cloudflare gives away this amazing suite of tools for free. We're talking DDoS protection, a global CDN to make your site faster, DNS services, free SSL certificates, I mean the list goes on. It's just an irresistible offer for any website owner, whether you're a tiny startup or a huge company. It's just too easy to say yes.
And here's the catch. To get all those awesome free features, you have to point your domain's name servers to Cloudflare. The second you do that, you've basically handed over the keys to the front door. Your website's entire connection to the world now runs through their network. So if they have a problem, you have a problem. It really is that simple. Let me put it this way. Think of your server as your house. It's got full power, all your lights are on, your appliances are ready to go. But Cloudflare, they're like the main electrical switchboard for the entire neighborhood. If that main switchboard trips, it doesn't matter one bit how great your house is, no power is getting in. Nothing works.
And look, this is the really crucial point. This isn't just some techie inconvenience, okay? For any online business, any business at all, downtime is a disaster. So let's take a look at the real world dollars and cents cost when your site just vanishes off the map.
And don't think for a second that this is just some hypothetical risk. Oh no, it has happened before and you can bet it's going to happen again. We saw huge outages in 2019, then again in 2022. That one hit massive names like Shopify, Canva, and Discord. And then we saw it again in 2024. This is a recurring pattern, and that proves that even the biggest and the best services out there can fail. And the fallout, it hits fast, even for a small shop. Just look at this example here. One small e-commerce store was down for just 20 minutes. In that tiny little window of time, they had 7 abandoned shopping carts, lost over 50 potential visitors, and got a flood of messages from confused and probably angry customers. That's real, quantifiable damage.
Okay, but now imagine this. Let's scale that up. Imagine you're running your biggest flash sale of the entire year. Traffic is peaking, the sales are just pouring in, and then, bam, an outage hits. Your site is just gone. Traffic completely plummets, your sales drop to zero, and maybe worst of all, those customers who were ready to give you their money now think your business is unreliable. That damage to your reputation can last so much longer than the outage itself.
So, what you're really looking at is a triple whammy. You're not just losing money in that moment, you're losing customer trust, which is incredibly difficult to earn back. And on top of all that, search engines like Google really don't like seeing your site go down, which can actually hurt your SEO ranking in the long run. All right, enough with the doom and gloom, because here's the good news. You are not powerless here. We can absolutely prepare for this stuff. So let's switch gears and talk about how to build a resilient website that can actually withstand these kinds of shocks.
Okay, so solution number one, and honestly, this is the big one. Do not rely on a single DNS provider. This slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the high-risk setup. Everything is on Cloudflare. If their DNS has a problem, you're offline. End of story. But over on the right, you have a high-reliability, multi-DNS setup. If one provider fails, traffic automatically flips over to a backup like AWS Route 53. Your site stays online. It's a game changer.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. I mean, you wouldn't go on a long road trip without a spare tire, would you? Of course not, because if you get a flat, you're just stranded.
A secondary DNS provider is your website's spare tire. It's what ensures that a single point of failure doesn't leave you stranded on the side of the information superhighway.
All right, here's another pro tip for you. For your most critical, must-not-fail backend services, you can use what Cloudflare calls DNS-only mode. Some people call it the gray cloud. This basically bypasses their performance and security proxy and sends traffic straight to your server. This is so important for things like payment gateways or your admin panel. It means that even if their main network goes down, your core operations can keep chugging along.
And this, right here, brings us to what is probably the smartest strategy of all. Just decouple your services. Use a rock-solid, reliable service like AWS Route 53 for your DNS. Think of this as the permanent, official address of your house. Then, you can still use Cloudflare for what it does best, security and CDN. That's your security guard. So if the guard gets sick and has to go home for the day, people can still find your house because the address itself is managed somewhere else, totally safe.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we put all of this together into a practical plan that, doesn't break the bank, especially for a startup or a small business? Well, it's actually way more straightforward than you might think.
So, here it is, your low-cost, super resilient setup. First, for your primary DNS, use something like AWS Route 53. It's just incredibly reliable. You can and should keep using Cloudflare for its amazing security and CDN features. Just have a plan ready to quickly disable their proxy. That's your emergency fallback switch. And finally, use a monitoring service like Uptime Robot. That way, you get an alert the very second something goes wrong, often before your customers even have a clue.
At the end of the day, this is the mindset we've got to have. No company, not Cloudflare, not Amazon, not Google, nobody can promise 100% uptime forever. Outages are just an inevitable part of the internet. We can't stop them from happening. But what we can do and what we must do is prepare for them. That's what separates a fragile business from a resilient one.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Your website isn't just a website, it's your storefront, it's your brand, it's your business. So given everything we've talked about, take a really hard look at your own setup. Is it truly prepared to survive the next big global outage? Thanks for sticking with me.